Welcome to Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. This is not your typical financial radio show. As a licensed CPA, insurance agent, and investment advisory representative, Chris coaches his clients on a holistic view of financial well-being with an objective of providing a complete financial strategy to fund life's goals. Chris is here to guide you down the path to the financial serenity you deserve. Now, here's Chris Cooper.
What's going on, folks? It is the final Sunday of 2025. I hope you guys enjoyed your Christmas holiday. And we're not done. We still have New Year's coming up this week. So holiday season still in full effect before we transition into the new year. But we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about warmer weather today because, you know, I don't like the cold. It drives me nuts. Summer's my time. Actually, fall's really my time because you can do a little bit of both. But we're going to spend a little bit of time today talking about pools and pool maintenance and all the fun things that go with summer. And when I think about summer, I think about hanging out, having some fun in the sun, quite frankly, with a little bit of water because water's nice. Keeps you cool and have some fun at the same time. So in studio with me today, we have got Mike Heath, Pool King Recreation. How are you, Mike?
Doing pretty good. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anytime in December we get to talk about something that makes you think about warmer weather, that's not a bad idea.
No, not at all.
We're
planning and prepping for the 2026 season, and I'm anxious to get there.
Absolutely. Now, does your business obviously changes a little bit? It's pretty seasonal, I would think.
It's seasonal. It usually drops off in about October. Everybody's getting their winter covers for their pools. But, hot tub season picks up around that time, and it'll carry us through the slower parts of the year.
Sure. And hot tub, a little bit less maintenance, right? A little bit easier, I think. But at the same point in time, you have to have a little bit of a chemist background to figure out these pool chemicals, I think.
It is. The hot tubs are getting smarter. And, with technologies, can cause its own problems as well.
Sure.
But, you can get, they help you can use these tubs longer, I guess, without having to maintain them as much.
Yeah.
So they're just the new systems that they have coming out. It's just, it's easier maintenance for the consumer.
Well, we had a hot tub and we moved recently and we don't have our hot tub anymore. And during these cold weather stretches is when I really do miss my hot tub.
Oh, I bet you do.
Yeah. It's pretty nice. Very relaxing.
Yeah, no, we grew up with a hot tub as a kid, and getting out there when it's 20 degrees out and you're sitting in that warm weather or warm water. Sometimes when the snow's falling,
it's the best.
It's beautiful. It's great.
Oh yeah, and it's funny. Running into it is never fun, right? You can't get used to that, but it is so worth it once you get in there, and then you get out, and it actually feels fantastic on your way out.
Yeah, well, they've got the cold plunges these days that people are paying to get into.
Do you guys service those as well?
We do have we do sell the cold plunges. We can service them as well. But
yeah.
It's funny, me and some buddies, every Wednesday, we go to one of the stores and we do contrast therapy. So you hit the hot tub first for like 2 to 4 minutes, and then you go in the cold plunge for about as long as you can.
Yeah.
It's usually about a minute in the beginning, and then you can kind of go to 2 to 3 minutes. But the health benefits out of, from doing that, it burns up the brown fat, or it activates brown fat. It's going to help you lose weight and stuff. It's got a lot of other health benefits with it. So
yeah. Oh, well, our son, 20 years old now, he used to do that in a little cold plunge he bought on Amazon. I call it Amazon, but Amazon, obviously. So yeah, and he used to do that exact same thing. And I thought he was crazy. But the cold plunge is very therapeutic for you.
Oh, they are. Yeah. And it's a trend right now. I think a lot of people are getting into it because of the health benefits. And I wouldn't say that I've noticed a huge difference, like long term, but in the short term, if you're a coffee drinker in the morning, you definitely don't need your coffee. It'll wake you up right up. Jumping in
Not bad.
Water.
Maybe I should have done that this morning, huh?
We'll invite you down sometime.
I like it. No, we should definitely do that. That would be a lot of fun, actually. So my wife talked about doing she wanted to do it for Thanksgiving. We have a small, it's actually a pretty decent sized lake on in our subdivision, and wants to do a little cold plunge off the beach right there.
Okay.
And make that a kind of a tradition.
Yeah.
It was really cold this Thanksgiving.
I bet it was.
So she came back from a walk and said, we're not doing it. And I'm like, well, isn't that the whole point of a cold plunge? But
well, you got to have the hot tub next to you if you're going to do that.
I think it changes. So. Yeah. If we had that, we might have been able to do that just fine.
Yeah.
That's right. So chemistry with behind these systems, right? So the chemicals are obviously a big piece of it because even though they've got, saltwater pools and different things like that now, you still have to figure out the chemicals behind that to get the right balance.
Correct.
Is that something, obviously that's something that you guys do for people.
Buy a new pool. we know the water chemistry is complicated.
Sure.
It's probably going to be something that you don't want to figure out. But if you are a do-it-yourselfer, you can always come into the store. We test the water. We make recommendations. We got the product right there that you can buy and go do yourself.
Yep.
You can always call on the phone if you're having issues with it. Pool King and Florida Pool are essentially the same company, just different names. Florida Pool mostly focuses on in-ground, and we take care of all of that for the customer. And we're not ready just yet, but we're going to be getting into the above ground service market.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. So you guys actually come out to the house and actually take care of the pool right then and there, make sure the chemicals are all balanced, filters, all that kind of stuff, I assume.
Right. And then just, if there's any issues going on with your equipment, we'll make recommendations. If you want to change it out, we can always do that for you too.
Yeah. So is that like a weekly kind of a thing, or is it a monthly service, or it kind of just depends? There's different package levels.
Some people get it done twice a week.
Yeah.
Because they just want to be completely hands-free. They don't want to touch the chemicals. They don't want to have to go, check the chemistry or anything like that. It's nice. I wouldn't say it's cheap, but for that person that is either busy, they don't want to deal with it, they just want to enjoy the pool. It's a hands-free experience that you've got professionals helping you out.
Sure. And then it's set and done, and you can just enjoy your pool.
Right.
Which a lot of people, that's why you get them in the first place, right?
Yeah, it's ideal, but when it's a lot to deal with. I've got a friend that his father, had a pool when he was growing up. He inherited the house. He's got the pool. And, he works out of town all the time. He's like, Mike, I come home and I've taught my wife, I've taught my daughter how to do this. They don't want to do it. They get confused by it.
Sure.
But when I leave, the pool's sparkling clean. When I come back, it's cloudy. He's like, can you just please?
Because they don't really do it, Mike.
They don't. They say that they screw it up, but if he had a camera out back to see them actually going out there, I'm sure he'd find that they weren't doing it,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, again, the above ground customer, there's just not really many companies around the St. Louis market that offer that.
Yeah.
Also because of price point, it's not cheap, but for the people that just want a hands-free experience, there's plenty of them out there.
Sure. Okay. And chemical wise, the same chemicals you use for on the commercial of when you guys do it yourself versus when someone like a DIYer comes in and gets something from you. It's the same kind of supplies and equipment, right?
And that's the benefit of buying with Pool King, is that we are supplying commercial grade pool chemicals.
Okay.
So some of the stuff that you might find in the big box, the concentration might be a little bit different.
Okay.
So you might have to you think you're getting a good price, but you're actually putting more chemicals in. And, with us, we are buying direct from the manufacturers, and we are getting stuff that are specifically for pools.
Gotcha. And I think that makes a big difference, because really the less chemicals you put into it, the better and easier it is to maintain, I would think.
True. And also, there's a balance, and there's other systems that you can use out there, so you're not dumping a lot of chemicals in.
Okay.
We've got ionizer systems that you don't have to pour as much chlorine in. You'll have to put it in, but it's just not as much, and it just gives a different feel on the skin. Sure, you've been in a pool where the chlorine's off and you reek like chlorine at the end of the day, or your eyes are burning.
I used to do a lot of swimming. So
you know about it.
Yeah. So when you'd come home from the pool and you have to take a shower just because you're feeling itchy, a little bit of red, and then also that chlorine smell.
Well, that's typically because the chlorine's off, and it shouldn't be like that. So, and I've had the same experience, like I said, when I was a kid, my father had a hot tub. We would use it. He was working a lot. He wasn't taking care of the chemistry. We would get out. My skin would be itching. I thought I just had sensitive skin.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case. The chemistry just wasn't taken care of, and you will get those reactions on your skin if you don't.
Okay.
So it's important, but it's a lot to keep up with.
It is.
We're going to be, the goal, we've been putting out content on social media and stuff, but the goal is to get a YouTube channel going, so that customers, if they're out there and they're trying to diagnose what's going on, again, they can always call in the store. But if we can actually provide that on a video, I don't know if you're like me and you can figure out how to do anything on YouTube.
Yeah.
But it's
except for how to post a video on YouTube, because then YouTube doesn't provide that service, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to figure it out on your own.
Yeah. I'm not very mechanically inclined, and my carburetor was all gunked up on the lawnmower, and I just put it on YouTube, figured it out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had a couple screws that were left over after I put it back together, but I figured out where they had to go.
I'm just impressed you had the tools necessary to do the job, because that's a lot of what comes down to too.
Well, 5 trips to Home Depot. And
there you go.
The tools you need, so.
Yeah. You can never make just one trip,
No,
each one unfortunately costs you $100 somehow. It's crazy.
I love how it works.
Yeah. Well, all right. So obviously the type of the pool chemicals that you put in is a big deal. And you talked about the quality of the ingredients that goes into that. So you want a specific kind, and you want it to be more commercial grade because you get better results.
Correct.
That makes sense. Okay. So have you seen what, obviously right now are you guys a business that there's a lot, and I don't know where pool chemicals come from. So is that more in the US based, or have you seen any impacts with some of the tariff news and things like that recently?
A lot of the chemicals that we get are US based.
Yeah.
And we do have some products that do come overseas, and the tariffs have affected things. But for us, thankfully, we were able to get a lot of our product in for 2026. We ordered early in 25. It's not ideal for cash flow,
right?
But it's what had to be done, and we wanted to make sure that we were ready to go for the season.
Sure.
But we're exploring, different partners and vendors locally. It's just, sometimes they're getting a little bit more competitive on the pricing because they understand what's going on with the tariffs.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully that's the whole thought process behind it, because I hate the tariff things, but we don't really live in a tariff-free society on the import or export side. So. Right. It's just kind of where we are. But in this country, with the tariff thing, it does change how we do business. And so it's nice to see that you've been able to mitigate some of that. But at the end of the day, you have seen some price increases, it sounds like.
Yeah, we have. And again, a lot of the companies, it's some of the pools come from Canada. Some of the hot tubs are manufactured. They're manufactured all over the place. We have local manufacturers. There's manufacturers in Mexico. It's a US-based company. Everybody's outsourced over the years, but I think that they're really trying to see if this tariff impact is going to be long-term, whether they make decisions on what they're going to do for manufacturing in the future.
Sure. Well, and that's, I think, the key, right? Because you can't just bring things that are manufacturing-based back to the States overnight.
Right.
That doesn't happen. You can do that with servicing to some level, but when it gets into, manufacturing, you can't just have a equipment or a manufacturing plant just all of a sudden go, oh, I should just buy this up, start this up, and start making hot tubs right here.
Yeah.
There's more to it than that. No,
it's complex. I've been out, there's a manufacturer down in Tennessee, I believe. And we got to see the process, and it's pretty cool to see everything come together. You understand a little bit more whenever you're diagnosing problems that might come up from customers. But it's a cool process, and it's cool to see that there are more small manufacturers starting up here in the States.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and hopefully that's what this trend that long-term does continue, because I think entrepreneurship is a very noble thing. It's great, and it spurs our economy, and quite frankly creates a lot of jobs and satisfaction for employees as well. Right. So, as I know you, because you are the same way, you've got multiple companies as well. Mm-hmm. So what brought you into the pool business?
I was running a garage door company for 5 years, and let's say 3 years, and then kind of worked myself out of a position. I got somebody that was better than me to fill that role, and I was just ready for something different. I wanted to get kind of my hands dirty. I feel like I do a really good job at organizing systems and putting people in the right places. So we just started looking at businesses that were for sale. There was the previous ownership, it was actually for Pool King and Florida Pool and Spa. They were for sale at the same time. I had an investor that was interested. We did the due diligence on the business, and we ended up closing Pool King May 1st of 2023. And then Florida Pool was May 28th, 2023.
Wow. Right now, so, back to back. Now, these were two separate entities owned by the same people?
Two separate entities owned by separate people.
Separate people. So the timing on both just happened to be to coincide.
It seemed like it made a lot of sense, because Pool King really never had a service arm.
Sure.
We handle our warranty work, and we've got a small team. So the idea was that we would, purchase Florida Pool as well, and they would be able to help fill that void over at Pool King. Well, Pool King specializes in above ground pools, and we do semi in-ground, and now doing in-ground. So that'll fit more, but in the beginning it did not.
Yeah.
And the customer was just very different. Above ground customers versus in-ground customers, there's just different needs. And so we tried a lot of things in the beginning. We were getting customer pushback. There were just we thought cleaning an above ground pool this is going to be much easier. And again, this is coming from my standpoint because I didn't know much about pools in general.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of pushback from the team. So I created some unnecessary headaches, but we got things, I think that's the biggest thing of any person that's going to go buy a business, because it is a trending thing and there's a lot of MBAs coming out and they just, you want to jump in head first. You got to listen to your people.
Yep.
And, I would say that, some people are resistant to change, but at the same time, you need to kind of take all the information and make the best decision from the information that you have.
Right.
And sometimes if you come in guns blazing, then it's not a good thing to do.
So how did you balance that? Because it sounds like you did kind of come up with a little bit of guns blazing approach, but you did take a little bit of a step back to listen to the team as well.
It was soft because I think that the team felt that the above ground service could work out, but what they didn't realize is that it actually took us longer to clean an above ground pool versus in ground.
Interesting. I wouldn't have thought that.
Well, because an in ground it's buried, you're standing on the concrete and then you're going down. With an above ground pool, you either have to have a ladder or you have to reach in. And the surface typically isn't completely smooth.
Oh,
so you've got a little bit of a bumps in there. So like debris might be stuck in those bumps.
Okay.
So you got customers that might be upset because, hey, you didn't get all the dirt out of the pool or something. And it's like, well, it's just, if your pool was level, then we wouldn't have this problem, but it's not completely level. So, we found that out. And again, the team was on board with it. But, after doing a handful of them, it's like, hey, we're spending almost an hour and a half at this pool. This should have only taken an hour. What's going on? So it's just, and again, we're still considering doing this. It's just, we need to tweak our systems and we need to come up with a better process that we had for in-ground, because the process and the system that we had for in-ground did not work for above.
Right.
So we're still going to go after it. I think there's an opportunity there, but I think I beat around your original question.
No, that was perfect. I just never would have understood that there's a difference there. But when you think about it, it does make sense. I would have thought that above grounds perhaps were a little bit easier to clean because they stayed a little bit more on the clean side. But maybe that's not correct.
It's I think it's just ease and access to systems.
Yeah.
So, above grounds just don't, always have that.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So obviously now when you get into, so you learned about pools now, you learned about the maintenance side of things. What have been some of the challenges that you've seen? We already talked a little bit about tariffs and things. What are some of the challenges that you maybe didn't see coming?
Finding techs. I think getting, as you've already said, chemistry.
It gets into people in so many ways too. Yeah.
Well, but like chemistry it's not an easy thing, but we can teach it to anybody. But on an in-ground pool, you run a lot of risk. The company takes on a lot of liability. If you don't close that pool wrong, those pipes can burst. If you don't have enough antifreeze, you didn't blow the lines out. So you run a lot of risk on that side. And that was, I guess, for us, for growth. We've got a ton of customers coming in, reaching out to us because, we've got that's one thing that we focused on was our reviews. We went from probably 7 reviews to probably, I think we're close to 200 now, or maybe a little bit over. There's a lot of people that want to come and use our service because of our reputation, but we're limited on capacity. And it's, you got to have your pricing right.
Yep.
Which some people might find that the hourly rate or the opening and closing rate is just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But, to get a quality tech to come in and take care of your pool, and you got to keep in mind that these people are probably not working 4 to 5 months out of the year.
Sure.
You can't just lay them off.
Right.
They won't come back.
Yeah.
So finding quality techs and growing the team to keep up with the cash flow, we've got a group, but it's not happening as fast as what I was hoping it would.
Sure.
So I thought that we could just put ads up and there'd be plenty of techs out there. But since we're in the Midwest and not in a state that's got 70 degrees year round, there's fewer techs out there with the experience that we want at the company.
Sure. I don't think we get 70 degrees for a single week at a time in the state of Missouri. We're always up and down and all over the place. So, it's funny. You mentioned processes, scalability of those processes, getting the right chemicals in place, the right quality ingredients, all those things. But then there's always a people element with systems as well, and so is turnover a really big challenge for you in this industry?
No, honestly, we've only lost maybe like 1-2 people, but just going on for opportunities that they had. Maybe they were in school, they were working with us part-time. They're plan was to go to college after that, or they were going to go move out of state or something. That's been the turnover that we've had to deal with. I think getting people in there, around April, March, April is a challenge for us because most of the kids that come work for us, at least as clerks or water testers or whatever, they're still in high school,
right?
Or they're taking college classes or, whatever that is. So, I think that's most of the issues that we've had finding people for the busy part of the season. But yeah, turnover it wasn't, it was much better than what I expected would be because, again, we did come up with a bunch of ideas that we tried to implement, but we weren't shoving this down people's throats. We wanted to maintain, excuse me, we wanted to maintain what that company's been doing for the past 45 years at Booking. And I think that I think whenever you take over a business, a lot of people, that's their worst fear is that they're just going to start, it's all going to be about numbers. Nothing's about people anymore. The culture of the company is going to change completely. And I think that we've done a great job at keeping the company culture the same, if not better. We're much more involved with the employees than we ever were.
Good.
The previous owner, stopped doing Christmas parties, stopped doing barbecues. That doesn't sound like a lot, but at the same time, the only time that they get to see each other is when they're working.
Yeah.
And we want to celebrate the year, whether it was a good year or a bad year, like we're there to celebrate. And
it creates that sense of community too. The togetherness is a big deal.
You're working with them the majority of your life.
Yeah.
And it's like, you want to be able to go, share a meal, have a drink, whatever you're going to go do.
Right.
And we just did our Christmas party with Florida last week, and then Pool King was a couple weeks ago, and it was just nice to get everybody together.
Absolutely. No, it's great. And I think those things are important because people remember that kind of stuff. It's not always just about, sure, you want to make sure you can enjoy your life and all those kind of things, but there's also those relationships because when you spend time with people, working or not, like you want to get to know them. You want to have some fun with it too.
Right.
Absolutely. And it makes some of those people challenges a little bit easier.
Yeah.
as well.
I mean, it's, I used to work in the restaurant business when I was, when I was a kid.
Well, there's some challenge right there, right?
And being a server, it's chaotic.
Yeah.
Or even I used to bartend, and it was just a chaotic mess. But you know what, when you've got somebody that you like that you work with you, or you just work well together, it may be chaotic, it may be stressful, but at the same time, if you got a buddy that's working with you, or at least, you can stand each other.
Yeah.
It just makes a day go by that much faster.
Yeah.
And it's, so that's what we've been trying to do, just trying to do a little bit more activities. We might go do a happy hour with the team. So it's been good. And I think that we've made things better, if not, we've made things a lot better than what they were.
That's great. So seasonal, is that always, seasonal businesses, it's a little bit of a different element too, right? Because there's the peak season and there's the slower season. And with you guys having that hot tub side of things, that does kind of help a little bit, but I assume it's still quite a bit from a seasonal perspective, a big shift in difference.
It is for sure. I mean, we sell, over 200 pools a year. Hot tubs, we're, getting over 100, and it's, there are peak months, and it mostly follows the peak pool months. But at the same time, you have those people that plan.
Mm-hmm.
And, we still sell quite a few pools in December and January. And, we're always encouraging customers, it's like, this is the best time to buy because there are going to be slight price increases going into the next year because of tariffs or whatever it's going to be. Pricing typically always goes up, so it never comes down.
It's inflation. That's weird how that works, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, the Fed funds inflationary standard, they say, is like 2%, right? So, and as business owners, we don't always think about passing that along each and every year. That just, we typically don't. But at some point in time, you have to change that, right?
Yeah. Well, that's why we stay aggressive on shopping with different manufacturers, and we're in a buying group, so we buy in bulk and we get discounts, and we do pass that, as prices are going up, we're typically able to kind of maintain pricing or have slight increases because, we are conscious about this. We can't have a 15-20% increase year over year. Nobody's going to be buying this stuff.
Right.
So we have to be good on our end and shop aggressively because at the end of the day, it's going to affect the consumer.
Right. Well, it's unfortunate, but you just don't see price decreases in really any industry. It's not, you can say like gas and fuel, but that's very rare that you have a commodity driven kind of thing that actually sees pricing up and down to that kind of level, right? So unfortunately, yes, we saw a lot of inflation during that COVID type time frame, but I don't see that necessarily coming back down either.
No, I mean, and it's from the manufacturing level, and it's just what happened. I would love to know, but
I think I got a lot of theories on this. But we could go. That might be a whole nother show on conspiracy theories to deal with COVID and inflation. But a lot of companies just don't price. They don't raise prices, and then all of a sudden now something happens. You have to start increasing prices, so you just increase it. I think as a public, we tend to see higher increases less often.
Right.
And
what we've been trying to do is trying to figure out other ancillary businesses that could help keep our people busy in the slow season.
Sure.
And what pool owner has tried selling Christmas trees? They're hanging Christmas lights, which we did with Florida Pool this year. And, we served our customer base and it went pretty well. But, it's, I've got a warehouse team that, they don't stay very busy. And it's like, well, what else can we be doing? And
Sure.
It's like, what, if as everything is getting more expensive, like, can we get creative with the side of it?
I love it.
We are not pool builders and we don't intend on getting into that because we use third parties for all that.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I don't want my guys going out and building pools in the wintertime. But it's like, what skill set do we have here and what else could they be doing? And so, we've got it outside the box a little bit and it's worked out well. It's been trial and error and we're trying to figure out like, what's going to stick and what's not.
Yeah.
But yeah, my guys weren't thrilled that they were climbing up ladders and going on 2-3 story roofs.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I'm afraid of heights though.
So.
That's me. So that always freaks me out. So
yeah,
no, thank you.
Oh yeah. My, the guy that's running the Christmas lights, he sent me a video of one of the other guys climbing up the ladder and it was a very large roof. And his knees were walking up that thing. And I'm like, when we do this next year, we'll probably hire some roofing installers to come out and do it because they're not scared to get on the ladder.
No, I've got some people in the roof business that they just shimmy up there, no big deal. And I'm like, holy cow. Electricians also do that very well. Yeah. They get on their just sit on the top of the ladder, one leg on one side and the other while they do a can light or something. I'm like, man,
no,
good for you.
I can't do that.
Not for me. No. Well, you got the pools, right? So there's a nice soft landing with the water,
land in the water.
Yeah. So as people are looking at businesses, because you guys found this business to acquire and be a part of and everything like that. What kind of criteria do you think make a business a successful integration into your life when you're looking for it?
My answer would have been different 5 years ago, but yeah, because we were just ready and hungry and didn't really care. And we'll just look, take a stab at the first thing that came along. But, having management in place is really big. And that doesn't mean the owner.
Yeah.
Hopefully the business is operating without the owner and maybe the owner is coming up with the strategy or the vision of the company. And they've got a general manager in place, or they at least have a manager there that could handle the general manager activities. For us, if we were going to buy another pool company, it would be something along those lines, manager that's been working there because we could have just absorb all the back end.
Sure.
We've looked at a few of them. It's just a lot of the companies that we've looked at, they had, the husband was out doing the installs. The wife is running doing everything behind the counter.
And the reason they're for sale is because they want to retire.
They want to retire. But it's like when, you look at it, it's like, okay, so in order for me to run this business, I basically have to do everything that you're doing right now.
Yeah.
You don't have anybody else that can do that.
Which makes your business not worth as much as it could be.
No, not at all.
Right.
So like if you talk multiplier wise, you may be like a 1 or a 2 multiplier. I mentioned that garage door company and that's where we bought the garage door company, was at a 1 multiplier because it was just the husband and the wife and they had other employees, but none of them were doing the bidding, the estimating. They weren't speaking with the GCs. So it made that business extremely difficult. We were lucky enough to have an operator that had been working for another company that could step in and learn.
Yep.
But, that business it's complex. It's not easy.
Right.
To bid these jobs on a commercial setting. It's extremely difficult. With the pool companies, we were lucky enough to have people that have always been put in a position on the side because the owner was there day to day calling the shots.
Sure.
And they never really had the opportunity to make decisions or, make mistakes because they get yelled at, screamed at, and, I would say that that's what I'm really proud of, is that some of the people, over at Florida Pools, some of the people that were put on the side and looked over for years because the owner was the one calling the shots and running the show, they're in those positions now.
Nice.
And I can't tell you how many people in the companies have moved up. And, I had some of these people coming to me and asking me like, Mike, like, I can do this. I've got the skill set. I used to run this other company, or, I used to do everything for them. They just didn't like the way that I did things.
Right.
And you just have to, give them a shot, let them try, let them fail. Failure isn't a bad thing. It's an opportunity to learn.
It's how you get up.
So
absolutely,
and I encourage that with the employees and stuff. And, if they were here speaking, they would probably, there would probably be some laughs. Just because
maybe some jokes,
probably jokes on my, on my part, but it's just, a lot of they've had to learn a lot of new things.
Sure.
And, stepping outside of your comfort zone of what you've been doing for however many years, it's not an easy thing to do for anybody.
Right.
And especially when it's like, hey, now this is your new role and we're depending on you to get this done and figure it out. It's a lot of pressure. But I'm going to be here by your side.
Yeah.
And if you make a mistake, that's okay. We're going to look at this later and we're going to figure out what you did wrong and we're going to try to make it better. And so, I feel really good about what I've been doing as a leader of the companies, is giving everybody else opportunities to be able to really step up and own it. And, most of them say, I've had a handful of them come up and say like, I really appreciate you doing this. It used to be a toxic environment before. It's very different now.
Good.
I got a lot of pressure, and it's, this is scary sometimes, being the one to make the decision, but there's a lot more smiles around than there were before.
Well, that's what it should be like. So, and that's good. You're doing the right things. Keep that up, and make sure you create the right balance, right? That's what it's all about, creating that right balance in the company and also with your customers. So, hey, Mike, thank you so much for coming in, and we'll make sure we get to enjoy our pool a little bit and the right balance as well. So,
all right,
thanks, buddy.
Good. Thank you.
All right, man. When it's cold outside, it is nice to think about warm things, and spending a little bit of time talking about pools and pool maintenance, man, warms me up a little bit. We can't get there yet. We got to get through the winter, and we're almost there. It is going to be transitioning to 2026 before you know it, and it'll be warmer before you know it. But before we get there, we got to celebrate 2025 and our accomplishments, and that is where we are. New Year's Eve coming up, and we got to think about transitioning over to 2026. This is our last show of 2025. Next time you hear us on Serenity Wealth Now, we will be in 2026, and we'll talk a little bit about goals and all those things, but we're going to reflect on 2025 because that's what New Year's Eve is all about. When we think about pools and pool maintenance, it's really all about the atmosphere you're in, right? It's different. Every backyard is different. Every pool is different. Water composition, that's the atmosphere you're in. The area of the country you're in, it changes. The type of pool you have, the chemicals you need to balance things might be different from pool to pool to pool, and from season to season as well. If you think about the investment world, it's really no different. You have to make sure you got the right quality of ingredients, but you got to make sure you've got the right timing. You got to make sure that it fits with your goals, your objectives, your wishes, your atmosphere, what's going on in the atmosphere, the economy. The economics are a factor, right? That's a variable we can't necessarily control, similar to the weather, but we can control the right quality ingredients, the right quality investments that fit with our unique strategy. And we can also make sure we utilize a professional who knows what they're doing. These are important things, that understands our strategy, how often we're going to be in the pool, what are we going to do? That's how it applies in the pool side of things. But on the investment side, when are we going to take money out? What's the ultimate purpose? Are we going to be using our funds today, or is it going to be, every day, or are we going to be a longer term thought process? Every situation is unique and different. We got to have the right ingredients, but we got to make sure we understand how to apply them effectively for a balanced pH level in our lives. That's what's important. Guys, warm weather will be coming soon. Enjoy your New Year's, be safe, and we will see you next year right here on Serenity Wealth Now.
Serenity Now! This is Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Request a free copy of Chris's latest book, The New Holistic Retirement, by visiting SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.